Okay, I've been doing a few bits and pieces before I got around to recording. I had a little fiddle about with the rigid bodies just for the hell of it. What I done was I made a public variable called rigid body, or called RB, of type rigid body. Then in the start method I got the component on current object of rigid body type. Then what I've done in the fixed update, because we use fixed update usually for physical stuff like things in physics, like moving rigid bodies and stuff like that. So then I set the rigid body's velocity to basically the upward vector times the jump power, and jump power is a public float what I added, and then times time dot fixed delta time, which is almost identical to delta time. It just keeps it within the fixed update sort of things. This is actually just irrelevant to the frame rate. This is called I think 20 milliseconds or something like that. So every 20 milliseconds this is called, no matter what, if you know what I mean. But you can actually edit that and change its fixed update times, but we won't go into that at the moment. So at the moment the things that are moving it like left, right, up, down is those. And then for jumping we're using the actual rigid body to act upon, to apply force to it. I was actually adding force to it originally, trying that out, and it kind of just goes a bit off the screen sort of thing. So I kind of changed it to this to kind of regulate it a bit better. A couple of other things that I've done. I've added some textures to the ground, and then added a few more cubes and resized them. I'll actually show you how in a second. In fact, if I just make a new cube, I'll show you. Create 3D cube. So now we've got a cube. Let's focus on it. Right, so we've got this cube. Now all we do is go over here. We've got like different sorts of tools. This is just to pan things around. This will move the object. This will rotate the object. And this will scale the object. So we can literally squish it down this way, make it bigger this way, and jobs are good. Now if you want to do this a bit more accurately, you could do sort of like not the position, sorry, the scale to let's say 3 times on that axis, 1 times on that axis, and 0.5 on that axis. Then we actually have sort of what's it, if I zoom out a bit, actually have sort of a little wall type thing, and we can plonk that on the floor. This is a smaller wall than the other one, if you notice. Go over by here, see the wall's a lot bigger. You could then turn this into like 4 times width, and maybe a height of 2, for instance. Bring that down a bit. You'll notice this wall's a bit thinner than the other one, okay, and a bit shorter. So actually I'm going to make this 2.5 height, and actually keep it at sort of like 0.6 width, just to kind of, but like I say, you can just faff about with this and make it how you want. Now you see these textures. What I did was I went online and literally typed in seamless grass texture for the grass and seamless brick texture for the brick. Now I could say this one instead. So let's grab this, save it. Oops, not like that. Save the image, and brick 2. Save that. And what we do is we go into oh, a sec, let's quickly just go into show in folder, and then literally it'll be in a folder here, but it's off on the other screen at the moment, but I'll just drag it on. I'm going to grab that brick 2 and plonk it straight into the textures folder. So now that's another asset. So if I grab this and drag it onto here, it becomes the texture for this. See? Really simple. Now what you can do is you could go to your prefabs, and a couple of things. I can duplicate this for a second, move it over and over, and then focus it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate that to basically positions of, actually not, let's have a look. I was going to rotate it, wasn't I? Rotate that to 0, so it's just directly straight. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, let's put it on the ground. I'm going to take this and grab it and plonk it in the, actually no, I'll call this wall 1, so it's got a name. And then drag this into a prefab. So now wall 1 is an actual thing. I'll get rid of that one. And let's plonk this down. Have a look, its rotations are all at 0 and everything, that's fine. It's a little bit in the ground. Just touch it to the ground there. So basically now I can get this one, call it wall 2, and drag that in as another prefab. So we've got 2 types of walls then, and you can just be plonked on the thing. So rotation is 66 degrees, we'll call it 67. So minus 67 even. So if we go over here, we can add this wall over here, so, or even just over here, like, and then Control D to duplicate and drag this over, and Control D to duplicate again and drag this over, and Control D to duplicate again and drag this over. We've got another type of wall there, and if we really want it to be made, Control D to duplicate and drag it to make it double width, or even actually it's Control Z that, delete that, shift click all of wall 2, Control D, and drag it out to make it thicker, or actually no, make it to like a corridor. There we go. Let's just grab this, Control D, drag it out to about there. Let's rotate it. That's near enough. Now I'm going to literally move it over. Yeah. So it's got like an end cap to it, sort of thing. And like I say, you can make these taller if you wanted to, and all sorts. So in fact, if you go to the prefab and go to the height, you could do sort of like 4 in the height. Right, just do that. Okay, why did that prefab not do? that's why I didn't drag it on as a prefab. I just duplicated the other stuff so it's not affected by that. So let's have a look at these 2.5 and 4. Let's change that back. So they're not actually part of the prefab. I needed to actually drag them out and drag them back on, but okay. No matter. But we have the walls, and we're still playing, so if I take that off, it's not done. That's kind of good in a way, because what I'll do now is I'll do like an alleyway. Control D. D. Control D. Control D. Oh, that one was a bit special. No, still not quite. Doesn't really matter if they're overlapping a bit. We can fiddle about and do stuff. I mean, if you wanted to get perfect texturing, you wouldn't do it this way because you'd kind of do UV mapping and get it exact. But I'm just kind of slapping stuff together at the moment just to kind of sort it out a bit. Control D. And I think Control D one more time. Put that over there out of the way. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this one, this one, this one, this one, this one and this one. Control D and drag them over here. Let's take a look on the top view so I can kind of, okay, I want it to be maybe like that perhaps, and then grab this, drag it over here, drag it over here, and then let's have a look on the wall rotation, 90 degrees, right there. Did I not even do that? Okay, and then literally move that in a little bit there. Maybe make it a little bit wider then, because I think that's great. There we go, that'll do. Just for a thing. So now we have like a little sort of what's here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to like grab all these walls and that one, and then change their height to 5. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, actually let's just do it this way, start there, end there, and click that, and then create empty, call this corridor, and then literally make all of these a child of that. So now we collapse corridor and we click on corridor, it's literally that. So now I'll make that into a prefab. So that's actually like a thing that we can plonk down and do stuff with. Do you know what I mean? So I can literally go and do this, rotate the corridor, that. Oh, not resize it. Move it over here somewhere. Literally line up there a little bit. Like I say, I'm not doing exact here, I'm just sort of like grabbing stuff and plonking on places and stuff. There we go. Okay. Now this one, I'm guessing. Let's just get back to yeah, I think this one needs to come up a bit to be level with the ground. We'll just do that. It's near enough. Okay, so we now have like two corridors next to each other. If I press play now, I've also got the camera as a child of the player. So what that means is it's following the player. This is not the best way of doing a follow type camera. I mean, I've got no rotation at all, so it's kind of one aspect of it. But basically we now have corridors that you can kind of bump into. Not very well, but you can, and that's off a bit, but yeah. So you can go into these corridor things. Again, not perfect, but it's kind of the semblance of some sort of a thing. Now, jump, if you remember, I made a jump. So he can't jump high enough to get over these walls. But if he does a double jump, he can get there. Stand on the wall. Another double jump to get on up there. So this guy can like step on top of the walls instead of actually just going inside the things and walk along the wall. I mean, not the most ideal situation, but really proper funny. So we've kind of gone a bit over time there. It's like 17 minutes, but it's been an interesting little thing. Oh, I didn't quite make it to there. So you could make these into slightly thicker places and have like them as platforms, and you have to jump and avoid the floor sort of thing and stuff like that. There's all sorts of things you can do with these. But yeah. So again, the grass looks a bit oversized, so this would be like a little ant running around in the grass or something, or whatever, I don't know. But you'd normally just repeat this texture over and over again and make it smaller, because that's just insane looking. But yeah. So I think I'll end it here, and I'll see you in the next video.